Welcome to the 12th episode of Plug in India show, and I'm Amit.
And I'm Rafi.
Rafi, how are you doing?
I'm good, Amit.
Same here, and this and all the Plug in India shows have been brought to you by our amazing Patreon members and YouTube members. By supporting us, they have made sure that we bring to you EV industry analysis which is absolutely unbiased and neutral.
That's right, and if you are one of our members, then you get access to our Discord server on which you can directly interact with Plug in India team members.
So Rafi, how do you feel if businesses start replacing their ICE vehicles with electric vehicles?
Well, Amit, I would be super happy to see that entire businesses are replacing their fleets with electric vehicles.
Yeah, and that is exactly what is happening today in India, and we're going to be talking about that. So moving on to the Indian EV news section, and the first news today, Rafi, is about multiple ride-sharing companies and rental firms which are now selling their petrol scooters and are investing in electric vehicles, electric scooters. The news article says rental firms like Bounce, DriveZ and Vogo are now selling their used vehicles and are investing in electric vehicles in the past few weeks, and they're giving out steep discounts on the ICE scooters. DriveZ has sold more than 150 vehicles, all ICE two-wheelers. Vivekananda Halekera, co-founder of Bounce, said the following: "We are selling used two-wheelers and investing in electric scooters. It's a win-win for everyone. We can switch 100% to EV during the pandemic." Anand Ayadurai, co-founder and CEO of Vogo, said, "We have outlined a plan to increase EVs on our fleet and are planning to phase out petrol scooters to strengthen our commitment to electric mobility."
Wow, Amit, that's really fantastic news to hear that actual companies are shifting their entire fleets to electric.
Yep.
We get a lot of comments on our channel. There are cynics and petrol heads and ICE lovers who say that electric scooters are problematic, and there are a lot of issues with them, but the reality is quite different. The very fact that companies are shifting their entire fleets to electric shows that they have a lot of confidence in this technology.
Yeah.
And this will in turn reflect in the masses, and individual users will also start switching to electric.
True. So Rafi, you know what the sad part about these petrol heads is? That they are in their own oil bubble and they choose not to see the reality.
Exactly, Amit. And I love what Mr. Anand, the CEO of Vogo, says.
Yeah.
And this clearly shows that he wants to strengthen the commitment that their company has towards electric mobility. Ultimately, businesses are going to find out which is the superior product, and they are going to discover that electric vehicles offer them efficiency, economy, reliability, and performance. So this is a fantastic situation.
So Rafi, we wanted to know more about this news. So we thought we will speak to our good friend, Mr. Manish Agrawal, who's the founder of One Plug Charging Stations. And he's been following these rental scooter businesses for a while. So why don't we go ahead and make a call to him and get some insights from him.
Hello Manish, welcome to the Plug in India show. And thanks for talking to us.
Yeah, hi Rafi. Thank you.
Well, we were discussing on the show about a news item, and there are certain Bangalore-based scooter ride-sharing and rental companies, and they are ditching petrol scooters and moving towards electric. Since you are also based out of Bangalore and you have seen these companies operating, we'd like to know your opinion about what's happening.
Right. So Rafi, the first and foremost, thanks to all the viewers and all the people who are part of this show.
Thanks, Manish.
For listening to this interesting conversation. So
Right.
what's happening here is initially or traditionally this ride-sharing companies that are based out of Bangalore have invested heavily on ICE-based scooters, and that was done for two reasons. One was the confidence on the electric mobility was lower, and second was it was a familiarity that a lot of people were familiar with the ICE-based scooters, and the company thought it would be easier and it would be comfortable to give it in the market as an ICE-based scooter. But over the time, especially during the pandemic situation, what these companies have realized is that there are a couple of things which are happening in this. The one is that the personal mobility space, which used to be for a longer range, right? People used to hire a scooter and then they would travel by public transport, and then they will go by this rental scooters for some distance till this last mile connectivity. That's what these scooters were used for. Now people want to use it for a longer connectivity. Like instead of driving my scooter, like let's say for my ride sharing, for if I have to drive for 20 kilometers, 5 kilometers I'll go in a scooter, other 50 kilometers public transport. That has been changed to people want to drive the whole way on their own mobility thing. That makes this proposition little expensive for the customer. So only way to bring down the cost is you change the alternate way of fuel. This is my take on it, that maybe that is the way the companies are looking at it, to reduce the cost of their offering so that people can start utilizing it more and more. And then the only way of going forward is obviously electric makes more sense. And also with the comfort factor, now there are not many models which are available. The scooters look beautiful, their ride qualities are proven, their life of operations, people have seen it from the many years now, 2-3 years. There are some well-known brands which are there in the market. So all these things, I think this is the think tank in the different companies that they are thinking through. And this is a good news for electric mobility. So currently these operators typically charge about 2 to 4 rupees a kilometer. They can offer the same scooter at a much, almost at a half the price.
That's fantastic.
So Manish, due to the pandemic, we are sure many people won't like to touch public ride-sharing vehicles due to the fear of infection, as we all know how it spreads. And so our observation is that these firms are pivoting to a long-term electric scooter rentals business model. What are your thoughts on this?
That's correct. That due to pandemic, there are a lot many people who don't want to touch public ride-sharing vehicles.
Right.
So it's not only during that pandemic that they've come up with this idea. You're right that they are looking to provide a solution which is a long-term goal. And then one of the reasons for these long-term goals is ease of operating, brings down their operating cost too much. Second is it brings down their cost of, the end customer's cost of fuel. And number 3, which is more important, is whatever the security mechanism. For example, I'll give you an example. If I own a rental company, and then for me, the theft would be a big concern. And we are not talking about a theft of scooters, we are talking about a theft of fuel, which could be a possible scenario. Any kind of small theft which is possible in a ride-sharing platform, which is run on ICE. But think about it in electric. Is it possible to steal your electricity from a scooter which is charged? Almost impossible. So those are the kind of things in the long-term perspective that if you are giving it out, if you are giving out or having a ride-sharing platform, it makes more sense as an operator to introduce electric scooters compared to an ICE scooter, which you need to deploy more technology to control these kind of things and creating an operating plan. You are right that they are looking at more term as a long-term scooter rental in terms of electric rather than the short-term pandemic. It's nothing to do with the pandemic. It's a long-term vision, and we welcome that vision as a company.
That's awesome, Manish. So are you also pitching OnePlug to these rental companies so that they can charge from them?
No, OnePlug has a vision. OnePlug is a technology company. It will always remain a technology company, and we are innovating. Our technology is enhancing the service offering. One example that we have recently introduced is we have now very recently entered into a battery rental business. We are using the technology. We are improving that how the battery rental can be a viable option for e-rickshaw owners. So this is our rental offering which has been introduced only in the Delhi NCR region. We hope to see it in other part of India. So we are playing a small role, but the bigger role has to be played by the ride-sharing companies.
That's right. So thanks, Manish, for talking to us and giving us your valuable time.
Thank you so much.
There are many points you made which our viewers will find very useful.
Yep. You're welcome.
All right.
Yep.
All right, Manish. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
So, Amit, that was a great call, and I think Manish gave us a lot to think about.
Yes.
And there are many points that he had made. What rental companies are doing, and if we see the shift towards rental companies, then people will start trying out the vehicles before they actually buy it. So we'll see probably two-wheelers and other electric vehicles being used and then purchased outright. Alright, another interesting point he made about petrol scooters is that there is theft of fuel.
Yes.
And this is very difficult in an electric scooter. Literally, how are you going to carry the electricity out? And another interesting point was that how to keep a track of how much fuel has been used for a particular trip. Now, this is difficult for a petrol scooter where you have to have all sorts of estimates. But an EV will give you a very accurate number. This thing can be done remotely via telemetry.
True.
So if a module is fitted into the electric scooter, it will just report directly to head office what the usage of all the vehicles has been.
Yes.
So that's a very interesting point that Manish made.
Yeah. So Rafi, what do you think the challenges for these rental firms would be?
Well, Amit, first thing would be that these scooters will require charge points.
Yes.
And so if the company which is doing the rental, for instance, would set up say 20 to 25 charge points around the city
Right.
where they are operating, that would be a great idea, and it would instill a lot of confidence in the users.
Definitely,
that they
yes.
can just go anytime and charge.
Right.
So that would help increase this market.
Yes.
Another thing is that when these companies buy scooters from a company, they should choose a good partner.
Right.
It should be some OEM who is investing heavily into research and development, into improving their product, and also localizing the product,
Okay.
because that would bring down costs and allow them to service these vehicles much easier because
Correct.
of the availability of locally manufactured spare parts.
Yes.
And another thing, Amit, that I see is that they should tie up with civic bodies. So the local municipality, for instance, so that they can have access to areas where they can set up these charge points, where these scooters can be charged, for instance.
Right.
So involving the civic body in this setup of rental would be a good idea.
Just to let you guys know, Bounce is a scooter rental firm that offers their services in Karnataka, Telangana and AP. Vogo offers their rentals in Hyderabad and Bengaluru. eBikeGo is a dedicated electric scooter rental firm that operates in Mumbai, Delhi, Bengaluru, Amritsar and Jaipur. Mobisick is another startup offering rentals majorly in Delhi NCR area via their Zip platform. You can book a scooter via their mobile app. So what are you guys waiting for? Go ahead and try these electric rental scooters firms and let us know your experience with them.
And we'll feature you in the I Have the Power section.
So Rafi, the second news item is something that will shake you up a little bit,
All
which
right.
is about Hero Electric scooters. They sold about 4,900 plus electric scooters in the pandemic duration. And during this lockdown, they were actually also doing a lot of promotional activities, doing online, sales offers that have seemed very, very popular.
Well, Amit, I think the lockdown has had a big effect on sales.
Yes.
Especially because public transport is scarce.
True.
So people are looking for a viable and cheap option. And Hero Electric seems to be having released a product at just the right time.
Yeah.
Another factor could be that people are realizing the viability of electric mobility, the very low cost associated with it.
Yeah.
And it's become a reliable alternative to having petrol scooters.
So Rafi, about the company Hero Electric, I watched Atulji's Dash electric scooter review and I was not impressed at all. Over and above the quality, actually the design was copied from Honda Move and the quality is pathetic is what I've realized. That the plastic button to the seat, the overall fit and finish, everything just leaves us to be desiring for maybe another one. So Rafi, last year they sold around 60,000 scooters, which is almost half of the total electric scooters sold by all OEMs. I wonder how they're able to even sell anything in spite of the quality that they're offering.
Right.
What do you
And-
think about the popularity of Hero Electric? Why are they popular?
Well, first of all, guys, please go and watch the video. It's very informative. To answer your question, Amit, I think they benefit mainly from the Hero Electric name.
I
The
understand.
name that has been established by Hero. And in small towns, people go for the name. They understand this to be something as a quality of trust and reliability. And because of that, they're just picking up these scooters.
Okay.
And they're not so crazy about all the other features that these other EV startups are offering, like telemetry
I
and other
understand.
things. They just want a ride point A to point B, simple commute, and the price point,
Yes.
which is quite low as compared to the other scooter startups which are doing quality electric vehicles.
Yeah.
And not everybody thinks like us city folks, and so that's probably the reason why they're selling so much.
Also, Rafi, Hero Electric is a 10 plus year old company and I would like to see them invest more in R&D and launch some awesome products. They have a big name and they can actually do a lot more and they do have the potential.
That's right, Amish. Amit, I mean, I really feel that the Hero Electric leadership needs to smarten up.
Yeah.
And they've done a wonderful job getting it to pole position now.
Yes.
Like they are the market leaders as far as the electric two-wheelers are concerned.
Right.
So they need to make some good decisions and they need to launch good product on the road, investing more in R&D for that matter.
So we expect more from you, Hero Electric, and we hope that you beat the last year's sales numbers. So in our next news item, India and Argentina now have a strategic tie-up to establish a commercial link and a joint scientific technological development in the field of lithium. The MOU was inked between GEMSE, an Argentinian state-owned enterprise, and Kanish Bidesh India Limited, in the presence of the Indian Mines Minister Sushil Kumar and the ambassadors of both the countries.
So this is good to hear, Amit. This will enable India to become more independent about its lithium ore dependency, and we'll be able to move away from China and probably process our own ore in India itself.
Yes.
I was very curious to know about this company, Kanish Bidesh.
Yeah.
It seems to be a joint venture between three different companies.
Okay.
The National Aluminum Company, the Hindustan Copper Limited, and Mineral Exploration Corporation Limited.
Wow.
So these three have come together in a JV to form Kanish Bidesh India Limited. And their entire goal is to find strategic assets abroad and minerals such as cobalt and lithium.
Just to understand the facts, Argentina, Chile and Bolivia hold 70% of the world's reserves of lithium. Argentina has 1.7 million tons of lithium, which is the third largest reserve. The world in 2019 used around 77,000 tons for mobile phone, consumer electronics and EV batteries. So as we discussed in the Plug in India show earlier, there is a lot of lithium available to us to last maybe some decades.
That's right, Amit. Daniel Churu, who is the ambassador of Argentina to India, said the following, and I'll read. In order to develop a competitive EV battery industry, India needs not only to acquire a substantial amount of lithium, but also needs to access to the best quality raw lithium which can be found in Argentina. Alright, Amit, this is really exciting. It's good to know that the Indian government is so committed to electric mobility.
Yep.
They're looking for a non-Chinese source of lithium which is of good quality. So this will really make the difference in electric mobility sector in India.
Yeah, this is really exciting, Rafe. But I also have another point to add here. Rafe, every time I see an electric vehicle video or an article on lithium batteries, there is always one or two comments from the cynics. And they'll be like, oh, lithium is so awful and the mines that are dug are so horrible for the environment,
Yes, Amit, I believe that's true. And people crib about even the small 2 or 3 kilograms of lithium that is used.
Exactly.
And it's used over 12 and 13 years.
It's like...
So, and batteries have a second life, they have a third life.
True.
And not to mention the minerals can be recycled and used again.
Yeah.
This is not the case for oil.
Once used?
Exactly. Once the oil is burnt, it's gone into the atmosphere and you have zero recyclability. So the environmental impact of oil is way more than the minerals that are used for batteries.
It's like, we get such comments usually from petrol heads who just hate EVs and people who have been fed misinformation about electric vehicles, usually from the fossil fuel industry. So the next time you or any one of your friends is actually talking nonsense about electric vehicles or lithium batteries, you know what you have to tell them.
The Okinawa Oki 100 motorcycle, another rebranded Chinese EV. We are used to ICE-centric websites like Autocar India taking potshots at EVs. They have done it in the past and will continue to do so. Consider this Okinawa praised scooter review by Autocar India. The article starts with the line, "I was pushing the Okinawa Ridge upper flyover on the very first day I got it. This immediately sends the message that you will end up pushing your electric scooter everywhere you go, which is completely wrong. Sensationalism for the sake of sensationalism, just because the vehicle is electric." One of the founders of this giant media company says diesel cars are green, which tells us all we need to know about where their priorities are. However, this time they did ask a pertinent question about Okinawa electric scooters, which has been caught selling Chinese branded scooters before. How can we trust the company now with the Oki 100? both Okinawa and Autocar India need to start answering some questions. Gaadiwadi seems to be serving up EV gossip every day these days. Again, there is no official quote from Mahindra Electric regarding the range of the XUV. OEMs don't even reveal the exact specifications of their vehicles during the launch event, but somehow Gaadiwadi was able to obtain this information. Amazing! Leaked document confirms Kia Seltos EV set to be launched this year. Gaadiwadi strikes again. It claims it got hold of a secret document about the Kia Seltos EV. Kia Motors has not announced any electrics and is happy to sell more oil-guzzling SUVs in the Indian market. We recently did a video arguing that India definitely does not need more large oil guzzlers. So, an electric car from Kia would be welcome, but unless we get official confirmation, let's take this news with a mountain of salt.
Thank you, Abhishek, for yet another hilarious EV gossip. And Rafi, I am so fed up of Gaadiwadi electric car scoops and the Okinawa scooter review by the Autocar India, which was also a disgrace. And yes, yet another sarcastic review of and a negative review for E2O Plus, which was done in 2016.
That's true, Amit. Autocar India is a giant ICE vehicle media company.
Yep.
Their reviews on pollution vehicles are excellent.
Yes.
But dismally bad when it comes to other alternative means of propulsion, especially electric. I did like their video on the Ather S450 though.
Yep.
But there are some people on the team who just don't get it. They don't like electric vehicles and they have an agenda against EVs. And their founder actually thinks that diesel is a clean fuel.
Oh.
And
I think he will need a double mask very soon, because one to protect from corona and the other to protect himself from
his own prejudice.
So finally, Okinawa claims that Oki 100 is a fully localized product, which I really don't trust. And I think a lot of people in the EV community will not really believe that.
That's true, Amit. The Oki 100 though is a FAME 2 compliant product.
Okay.
So we can expect that it's largely localized.
Okay.
But to claim that it's completely localized is
May
a
not
slap
be,
in the
yeah.
face of the EV community. An Autocar article has shown that the motorcycle from a Chinese company called Jiangsu Zoxing Motorcycle Company Limited looks exactly similar to Okinawa's Oki 100.
We feel it's about time that the Okinawa management really stops feeding lies to the EV community, and they know that anyone with the internet can actually just go ahead and Google or search, do a quick search to expose them. Okinawa management, please just stop. It's really, really, really embarrassing. Moving on to our EV Twitter section, the first tweet is from Mr. Nitish Roy, who had some issues with his MG ZS EV battery management system, and actually the MG ZS EV team just replaced the whole battery. The tweet says, I got my car back after diagnosis. My car had a problem with the BMS battery management system. Since it was a brand new car, MG decided to take a bold step and change the whole battery pack of the car. They ordered the new battery immediately, and I learned that the main battery pack was brought from their assembly line in Gujarat. I had 4 people communicating with me on a daily basis, and they also gave me a loaner car for this 1 week, which was a MG ZS EV top model.
Wow, I mean, that looks like Tesla level service.
Yeah.
These guys really communicated with him. They got a locally manufactured pack. They replaced the entire pack, not trying to repair or just, stitch up the problem. Exactly. So I'm totally happy with this. This is very unlike the customer relationships that we've experienced from the Mahindra E2O and E2O Plus customers that we've heard of in the electric vehicle community. So it's really awesome.
Also, Nitish has completed 2,500 km in his MG ZS EV, and he shared a photograph of his mobile app, which also shows 66% SOC is remaining.
Alright, Nitish, so thank you so much for this report, and we are glad that all is okay with your MG ZS EV.
So the next tweet is from Pathkind Labs, which is a growing network of diagnostic laboratories in India who also do COVID tests. And the tweet is, for the first time in the diagnostic industry, we have introduced electric bikes for our operations. On a daily basis, our riders travel about 150 kilometers to serve you, healthcare, and consume around 1,000 liters of petrol in a day. To reduce the carbon emissions, we initiated a change by collaborating with Hero Electric and Earth Ride in to use eco-friendly electric bikes for transporting these samples. We started a notable step with a promise to keep the world greener and healthier.
Well, Amit, more and more businesses are discovering the extremely low operating costs of electric vehicles and the reliability, because these are people who really need to use the vehicle a lot throughout the day for all the delivery purposes.
Yes.
So this has to be something that makes sense to them from the economic standpoint of view, from the operational point of view.
Yeah. So we wish Pathkind Labs all the best, and wishing that businesses across India to stop the oil habit and go electric. The third tweet is from Elon Musk, and he tweets, "Our true competition is not the small trickle of non-Tesla electric cars being produced, but rather the enormous flood of gasoline cars pouring out of the world's factories every single day."
This tweet is really poignant, I think, Amit.
Yep.
And in 2020, the car manufacturers are still not serious about making electric cars. They are in denial about the problems of oil and pollution that is caused, and the lack of supply which is going to eventually happen. So they just keep on launching one big SUV after another big SUV, all these inefficient pollution cars being put onto our roads.
Yeah.
And this is just delaying the electric vehicle movement. It's not really helping anyone except their pocketbooks, which is very short-sighted. So unless the government sets some serious deadlines for these guys to really shut down shop as far as ICE vehicles are concerned, I think they'll just keep on going on business as usual.
So Rafiq, does India need more oil-guzzling SUVs and polluting SUVs? Go ahead and watch the video done by Kamlesh, Musings 11. The link for the video is in the description below. Moving to our first story, which has come from our Nexon EV owners group in Bengaluru. They shared some photographs of their trip from Bangalore main city to the Nandi Hills, which is roughly about 65 kilometers. The pictures look very amazing, nice and green. Definitely, it's Bengaluru. About 9 of them. Wow, they look so amazing standing together.
Different colors. The colors are also quite vibrant, Amit. The blues and the whites. And some of them even have the bow tie that was tied in the showroom when they first got delivered. So these people seem to be really enthused.
Yeah, he may have just got the car and then straight to the bride.
and they're all parked in a nice neat line. It's amazing to see clean green electric vehicles like this on the road. Zero pollution vehicles, and there are a lot of people who are looking around at these cars. It's more like an exhibition than a rally.
Yes.
So this is really good to see, Amit.
So Rafiq, doesn't it remind you of our EV days of doing the rallies?
When the E2O was new, and we took it far beyond the city to Pune, to the hills of Mahabaleshwar. We even went to Nashik. And my God, yes, it does remind me of those days, and I want to do it again, Amit. Let's get a brand new car ourselves.
Let's do
this.
Kamlesh Mundara is back with some more pictures of the Mahindra e-Verito owner that he met in Nashik while he was on his revolt.
Right.
And here are the pictures, and the message which he mentioned was that he met this family in Nashik.
Yes, and Mr. Shashi Kadam, the owner of the e-Verito, was very happy to meet him, and Kamlesh said that he's a really good person to talk to. Which just brings to my mind, Amit, that EV owners are generally people who think about the larger picture.
Yes, and that's, it's so nice to meet another EV person.
Enthusiastic about the community, about saving the planet, about having clean technology. So, Kamlesh Mundara is one person who has taken his bike delivery in Pune and driven down to Nashik. He stays in Nashik. And he's keeping us updated month by month about his activities in Nashik city.
Yes.
So it's good to know the EV community is prospering in Nashik. And always good to see green number plates on the road, guys.
Ayan Ahmed Hussain from Bengaluru has sent us some photos of his Ather 450 and also sent a video of the new software update. Let's look at the video.
Here we go. So Ayan has chosen to update the scooter. That's how it works. Once you choose to update, it asks you to plug it in. You plug it in and switch the keys off. And that's when the update starts. You can see the screen going dark. And it boots up and it just looks like a Mac computer to me, Amit.
Yep.
That's how...
Or an iPad screen.
Exactly, like an iPad screen. And of course, we do know that it's a Linux-based system. So, and a good display, good graphics. I think it's amazing that after having purchased his scooter, he's still finding new things that are happening in it.
Yeah, it's always nice to get an install.
Exactly. A software update with some new feature or the other. And in this one, they've enabled dark mode.
Yes.
So that I feel is good, because if you're riding at night and you look at your Ather display panel and then look back at the road, the eyes don't have to adjust to a different contrast setting. So that's certainly
it's easy on the eye.
Easy on the eyes. And he also sent us a few pictures about him riding the Ather S450 around Bengaluru. It's a really beautiful scooter.
Yeah, it looks stunning in the background. Not in the background, on the background.
On the background, right? Exactly.
With the LED light, at the back.
Yes, super bright LED lights and good sleek angles that it's got. And really, all in all, Ayan has been keeping us up to date with his progress since he purchased the Ather S450.
Yes.
And thanks, Ayan, for sending us your pictures and sharing your journey with all of us.
So, Rafi, when are you getting your Ather 450?
Oh my God, I can't wait for this to happen. I've already put my name onto the website.
Who is it?
So let's see when the email comes in. And I was initially hoping to get. I mean, I don't really need one, but having seen how it looks and works, and the other people who are enjoying it so much, I want to have one anyway.
Awesome. Look forward to it.
Right.
Pawan from the Revolt Owners Group has sent us some photographs of his low state of charge and high range. Let's look at those pictures.
Right, it's his dash from the Revolt RV400.
And it shows about 129 kilometers that he's done.
Wow, that's a lot
trip.
of range. And he still has 9% SOC remaining.
Wow.
So considering it's a new bike, it will go down all the way to 0, which means that he'll probably get a little bit more than 135 kilometers. That's awesome. Here's another one of his app, where it shows him the details of his daily ride.
Yep.
And he's traveling quite a lot, 80 kilometers, 112 kilometers. That's quite a lot of riding. So Pawan, well done. Thanks for sharing your experience with us. And I'm sure a lot of people will be inspired to adopt EVs looking at your experience.
Bipul Rakshit from Greater Noida has shared his experiences about his e-tron. I really appreciate your work towards electric vehicles. Here I am sending my e-tron e-bicycle, and following are the points I want to mention. Using it for about 1 year and more than 2,800 kilometers. Experience is very good and very supportive team of IIT Hyderabad based company Pure EV. Still giving 50 km of range in throttle only and about 70 with paddling in mode 3. Company gives 3 years of battery warranty, and it's the most value for money product still in the market. This is the earlier model of e-tron, as I don't have gears and no rear disc brakes.
Thanks Bipul for sharing your experience with us, and we went ahead and shared your pictures with the Pure EV team as well, and they were really happy to know that one of their users is so satisfied with their product.
Nihar Amrute from Pune recently got delivery of his Bajaj Chetak EV, and the photographs that he has shared with us look amazing because it just look like the product has been shot perfectly. Let's look at those photographs. As you can see, I love the seat. I mean, it's so sleek and smooth. I just feel like going and sitting on it right away.
And you can see the transmission. It's not a hub motor at all. It's got a transmission, and it has a motor which is sprung, which has suspension. So that's good. You can see keyless keyless operation rather. And all in all, a really good scooter to look at. Look at the buttons, Amit. They've got backlights. Yeah. And he sent us some more pictures about the app. So let's look at the app photos. And here you can see that it's a simple app. Nothing too complicated. It gives you the battery percentage left SOC, and it gives you the range, and it even shows you how you've been riding it throughout the week or the month or on that particular day. So it's a useful app, and that's his charging point, neatly installed in his parking spot, taken from his own meter. So that's something that the society can't object to. So that's good to see. So this is an example of a progressive society in Pune, which is actually allowing an EV owner to set up a charge point. And this is very clear from here that his electricity is being consumed from his own personal meter, not the society's meter. And there we have found this to be a major stumbling block
Yes.
where purchase of EVs is concerned, where this housing society comes in the way and they don't allow you to set up a charge point. So thanks Nihar for sharing your good experience, and I'm sure it will inspire many more. So Nihar has also shared a link to his blog about his EV ownership, and the link is given in the description below, guys. Please go ahead and check it out. Nihar, thanks once again for sharing your experience.
We received some more photographs from the Revolt Owners group, where they have shared delivery photographs of a group of people who have come to receive their new Revolt electric motorcycle.
And we did speak to the Revolt team in Pune, and they said that more than 500 Revolts have been delivered and thousands more to be delivered soon. So these are a set of really nice photographs, Amit. We can see that they're neatly lined up, all those green number plates. People are eagerly waiting for the program to happen and checking out their own motorcycles and really posing for them. And there they have the Revolt gang sign, which shows that they are revolting against the ICE industry altogether. So it's good to see. And brand new motorcycles with plastic all over to protect the parts from damage. And here's this guy posing for a photo on. He seems to be very proud of his motorcycle. So very good. Thanks for sharing, guys. It's really a pleasure to see such change happening.
Yes. Now it's time for a story, an EV story, which has been dating back to 2014. Vivek Ahuja from Delhi, he's been waiting from 2014 to really buy an electric car. But at that point, there was only a E2O, which was a small car, and he didn't want to buy a small car. So he waited really, really long, like nearly six years. And in 2020, he went and bought his Tata Nexon EV. So Vivek has shared some pictures of his Tata Nexon EV that he got delivery very recently.
And here he is in the corona age with a mask on. And his Nexon looks really beautiful. He's gotten the blue colored one, and he's showing us that even in the rains he can charge safely.
Yes.
So that's a big plus. That's some anxiety that people always had about what about EVs and rains. When it rains, what happens?
Correct.
So it's absolutely safe, guys. And he's using here an extension point to charge his car, and we can see that it's got a sunroof, which is a really good feature for a car at this price range.
Yeah, it looks really stunning.
Exactly, it looks stunning, and we can see him having taken it to India Gate. And here are people looking at the car, and that's really awesome.
Vivek also shared pictures of his Nexon CarPlay.
Exactly. Amit, this is really nice. It's something we wanted in our cars as well.
Yep.
And the Nexon has done it. It's got both Android and CarPlay. And it's really nice to be able to leverage your capabilities of your cell phone to enhance your car driving experience. And he sent us some screenshots of Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on his car, and how easy it is to navigate using Google Maps. So
it looks exactly like your phone's been replicated onto the dashboard of your car
screen. So there's no getting used to a new operating system. All your contacts are there, all your personal data is also there. So thanks Vivek for sharing this, and we are really very happy for you. It's been a long and patient wait, but I think it's worth it. This is a really good car. Thanks for sharing.
Rafi, the I Have the Power section is getting better and better every week or month, I should say. And with more and more enthusiastic electric vehicle owners are sharing their photographs, it just gets more inspiring for everybody and the both of us to showcase it on our show. Please keep sending us the pictures and the videos. The email link is mentioned in the description below. We are waiting and looking forward to it.
Yes guys, and we have a couple of updates for you. Plug-in India is now available as a podcast.
Wow.
So you can just go to Spotify or you can go to Apple Podcasts. Very soon we are going to be available on Google Podcast as well. So guys, look out for that. The name that you have to search for is Plug-in India Podcast, and that should show up our links to you. You'll find a familiar logo over there. So that's how it goes, guys. Looking forward to much more happening in the EV industry. We are really excited. Things are really hotting up.
Rafi, we are really excited because we have recently touched 100,000 subscribers. Yes. And thank you all to our supporters of the Plug-in India show, and to the wonderful Patreon and the YouTube members also.
Subscribers, right. Thanks guys for supporting us to be able to bring you neutral EV content. Please give us your suggestions in the comments below. You can write what you like about the show, what you dislike about the show, and we are always eager to know more from you guys. Eyes out.
EV in.
Recording. Recording.
So Rafi, we get such comments mainly from petrol heads and who ate EVs.
I hate EVs.
Continue.
खा गया.